Okay. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi.
Yeah, we could hear everybody. Perfect.
All right, do you need to restart your recording there?
I have the recording up. I got up until the very first question. I got her oath, and then I got her first and last name, and then that was it.
Okay, Frida. So we'll just back up a little bit here, okay? Um,
Okay.
just for the record, my name is Mac McLean. I've been requested by the DA to assist with this investigation. Um, I'm here to ensure that the criminal element of this investigation is investigated to its fullest extent. All right. Um, and Frida, because you are under oath at this point, and this is again part of a criminal investigation, I do need to make sure that you stick to things that you know, things that you saw, things that you heard. Okay.
Okay.
So I understand that we're here today about an incident that occurred yesterday around this same time involving a couple law enforcement officers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me about that incident, please?
So I tripped and fell and got pretty banged up. Um, and I did three 911 saying help. Um, of course I waited, about 3 or 4 minutes per, you know, call. The third one, um, was after I noticed two or three, one squad car and one truck going back like by me, not even paying attention.
And where was
Um
this?
this was the convenience store in Sandy right next to the
Next to the gas station?
yeah.
Okay. All right. What happened after that?
Um I did the third 911 saying, to the officers that passed me, I hope you go choke on a Lego. Because I did multiple 911s prior to that one. And I seen multiple officers pass me on, the floor. It was very easy to see me. Could not miss me. Um,
And were you
and
out front of the convenience store, inside the
yes,
convenience store?
no, it was outside. It was like I was near the road.
Okay. Then what happened after that?
The truck pulled up and you know, um the male officer, of course, stepped out first and was like, "Oh, it's her. She shot my dad
Okay.
earlier."
And
Um,
what did this officer look like?
I don't remember. I was blacking in and out.
Okay, but you remember it was a female?
It was a male.
It was a male. Okay.
I kept blacking in and out, so I don't really remember what
Okay.
they looked like exactly, other than
Do you remember if he was
um
black, white, Hispanic, Asian,
white.
white guy? Do you remember what color hair he had?
No, he had like it's definitely a sheriff's office truck, and he was I noticed after the fact of being in the car that there was a female in there with like brown hair, or like a blondish brown hair.
And do you remember
um
what kind of uniform they were wearing?
Both of them were sheriffs.
Okay.
um they told me on scene, "Oh, why didn't you call 911?" And I said I did multiple times. And they said, "Well, we were at the sheriff's office the whole entire time. We never saw you or got a 911 call from you." I said, "I don't know what you're talking about, because I called multiple times 911, and I seen you drive by because I seen a truck drive by and go on the freeway, near the freeway. I don't know if that's exactly where they went." Um they're heading towards Grapeseed. And I kept going in and out, but when I was awake, he did say, "Oh, we should just let her die because she is, she shot my dad from earlier." And I admit I did shoot an officer earlier in that day, and from a robbery. Um, and I guess that it was someone that he knew and saw as a dad. So it,
Do you know what kind of voice this guy had, the male officer? Was there anything distinctive about it?
no.
No? Okay. And what happened after they told you all that?
He was the main one to treat me. I never saw the female until like towards the you know going to the Alamo Sea. She stayed quiet. She didn't say anything. He was saying like she should die for hurting um you know my dad, and we should dump her into Alamo City. And I said, hold on a minute, like here I am injured, not really fully there, and I noticed that we were, you know, near the Alamo Sea. He then took me out and put me into basically the Alamo Sea. I guess that
What do you
background.
mean by they basically put you in the Alamo Sea?
So he dragged me out of the truck while she was just staying there. I don't know if she was in her head or not, just not wanting to be a part of it. He just immediately um took me out, ran to where the water was and then put me in it.
So he actually dumped you in the water.
Yes.
Okay.
While I was injured, so I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't swim or anything. That's when I fully lost consciousness. I did I was over, you know, still in and out after the fact of everything, but I fully lost consciousness until he was doing first aid. Once he heard that there was someone else coming to the scene, he immediately took me out of the water, put me back into the truck, and then drove to Sandy Medical. And then once, you know, I got treated, I saw the other officer there, and the person in the truck drove off almost immediately. And so that's how I was like, I was scared because this is the second incident with police that I've had. And I would say it was way worse than the first incident, even though I got ran over by the officer the first incident.
Okay. Well, in this incident, if you saw the officer that took you out of the truck, would you be able to recognize him again?
No, because I was so completely out of it. I really don't. I knew like bits and pieces. I knew like parts of it, but I really, when you're out of it, you really hear muffled voices. That's basically what I heard. And then the only thing I can distinguish was, what he said. I know that, earlier that day that he was very adamant on saying like, she should die, she should do this, she should do that. And then this incident happened, you know, later that night. So I just don't know if he was just really beyond pissed off that, I shot his dad. And he was just trying to, make a statement or whatever. But yesterday I was really beyond scared because this is the second officer that has done something to me.
Okay. Now you said earlier that there was nothing distinctive about his voice, right?
No.
If you heard
I
his
just
voice again, would you be able to recognize it?
because I normally interact with the same officers multiple times a day. This is the first time I ever really interacted with him. Was yesterday in its general area. The only thing I could say is that he sounded like, he from the interaction that I had in the cell with him, was that he was very adamant that he wanted to do something to me. But voice distinction or anything, I really wouldn't know because there was about 15 officers after I shot down that one officer, and then I just heard a group of people saying, well, within that group of people, someone saying,
Okay.
she shot my dad, and she should pay, she should die, she should send, do life within prison for it.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. But I never got a distinguish of who he was.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to
Right.
sadly pick him out.
Okay.
And it's just because I really haven't had an
Right.
constant interaction with him like I've done with
Okay.
most officers.
Right. Now going back a little bit, how long did he leave you in the water?
It was for, if I had to guess, roughly, because as I said, I was going in and out of consciousness as it was. And he just, did that. I'd say probably between 3 or 4 minutes.
So he took you out of the truck, dumped you in the water, and stood around for 3 to 4 minutes, and then when other people were showing up, he took you out of the water?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And he really rushed to, Sandy Medical before anyone showed up out on scene.
All right. What
'Cause when
happened
I
after
came,
you left Sandy Medical?
I saw him and a sheriff's cruiser outside talking, I guess, to each other. Immediately after, I guess he saw me leaving, he fled. He bolted like I never seen an officer do, and I immediately just ran off because I didn't want anything to do with the situation. I immediately called Astrid and told her the situation because I was immediately scared that he would try to do something again. And it was the fact of he might, I don't know why he didn't say, just in case I did say something to the other officer, but I didn't at the time. I feel horrible that I didn't say anything to the officer that was on scene. But for the most part, I just wanted to get out of that area. And then I immediately called Astrid and was like telling her the whole entire situation.
I do have a few questions. Whenever the local hospital staff helped you get back to decent or good health, and you saw him outside, were you able to recognize him almost immediately that that was a person who was doing this atrocious act to you?
He was in his truck,
He was in
so
his truck.
I didn't see him, so that's why
So you
I
just knew it was
really
him by the truck
yeah
then.
yeah, because he fled as soon as I stepped outside.
Was the truck still occupied by two people, the female and him? Do you remember?
I don't remember because it was all blacked out windows, so I really couldn't tell to begin with. And she stayed in the car for all of it, and so didn't notice her until that he put me into the car.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, oh, there's another person here.
Okay.
I just don't know who she was either.
All right. So this the big question that I have here is, um, can you remember at all the officer that came on scene that made him rush to get you out and do life saving maneuvers on you? Can you remember what that officer looked like? Was he an officer? Was he dressed in black or was he a
He
deputy?
didn't show up until I was I was already in the hospital.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay. Can you remember
he
at
was
all what he looked like?
no, he was in his car. He really didn't ask if I was okay or anything. He was parked near the station.
Was
So
he
I really didn't get a chance to look at him or anything. All I know is that he was talking to um the officer um that was in the truck.
Gotcha. Okay. And was he in a black and white car or was he in a green and white car or a white and green car? Was he a deputy or was he a police officer?
White and green car, and the truck was white and green.
Okay, so they were both deputies then. Okay. All right. Um and you can't remember any kind of voices or anything like that. So it didn't maybe sound slightly European, maybe with an American accent, nothing like that
It's definitely an
distinguishes.
American accent. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. It's just that I it's like the first one I know who exactly ran my ass over. This one I have no clue.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Do you have any more questions, McLean?
Just some little administrative cleanup things. Ma'am, just because it's the first time I think we've run into each other. Do you have your ID card with you?
Yeah,
Mind if I see that real quick?
no.
Perfect. All right. And again, this was a statement that you made under oath. All right. That you did not omit any factual key bits of evidence or things that you saw or heard to the best of your knowledge right now.
I did to the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay. If it came down to it at a later date, not today or anything, if you had to write a written statement to the same effect as the verbal statement you gave today, would you be willing to do that?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. All right. That's all I got, Fletcher.
Uh, Thank you so much for coming down. I greatly appreciate it. And we are going to do our damn best, whether it be restless nights or not, to try bringing you a peace of mind or some kind of justice, okay? But thank you so much for coming down. I greatly appreciate your time. Thank your friend for bringing you down as well. So yeah, thank you so much.
I do appreciate it, and if one out of the two officers can in trouble for what they did, that's better than nothing. Um, it